So before the advent of no-fault divorce, we had situations that we permitted in situations of divorce. And that would be adultery, abuse, addiction, abandonment, right? And if that took place, one spouse was deemed at fault. And then the court and all of society could side with the innocent spouse and reward the innocent and reward the mom or dad that was trying to keep the marriage together, trying to protect the kids, trying to do what was best, right? That is no longer where we are today. Today, we have a no-fault divorce system. And yet, the no-fault divorce laws gives the most power to the spouse that is misbehaving the most. And so, in a general sense, you can say, well, we don't really want an outside party involved. But as soon as you're seeing it in your life and you are listening to the kid who's saying, you know, every night I go to bed sad and I don't know why, then you're like, get that third party in here and make that person own up to what they committed to, because it is victimizing the innocent.
Jennifer Aniston is blaming her parents' divorce for the reason she seems to have trouble with relationships. I always see people who had parents that get divorced say, well, I'm glad it happened. And I think that there are a small number of cases where that's probably true, but the majority of you are trauma coping. Your parents' divorce completely damaged your attachment style, and you tell yourself that it was for the best when deep down you wish they would have worked it out and stayed together. No-fault divorce is an absolute tragedy. It is the catalyst for every other degenerate marriage and relationship problem that we have in society. It broke everything. It is time to stop walking on eggshells and talk about it.
There's some additional problems with divorce that people don't really grasp when they're young. Like the idea that you can be divorced once you have children, that's kind of a stupid idea, because you can't. You can find a limited substitute for your initial freedom. But if you have kids and you try to get divorced, the probability that that's going to demolish your life is very, very high. First of all, it's incredibly expensive. So one or both of you is going to come out of that poor. And your market value has declined. Let's say you're the woman who takes the kids. Your market value has declined radically. You're going to be poorer. The man, he's just as screwed, because he is now an indentured servant and there's no escape from it. So it's not so bad if you can negotiate a peaceful separation, and some people can, but lots of times if you have a terrible relationship, it's not like negotiating a peaceful separation is all that easy. But if you're at each other's throats, good luck to you. It is not pleasant.
So if you're talking about what exactly shifted, no-fault divorce in the United States is essentially the thing that shifted. And with that came family breakdown, came the rise of individualistic subjective autonomy, the belief that you were to be disconnected from institutions, and that bled all the way down the chain. One of the great ironies, by the way, when it comes to the elitists is that they don't actually live like they preach. If you look at the elitists, many of them are married, many of them have kids, many of them went to college, most of them made pretty good life decisions, which is how they got to be successful. But the stuff that they preach is precisely the opposite of that. And it's ingested by pop culture and then spewed out there. And people who are sort of lower down on the economic scale, those are the people who tend to embody that. And then those are the ones who suffer.
You've probably heard about it. No-fault divorce gives the upper hand to the spouse who behaves the worst. Divorce itself is a gut-wrenching experience for both parties, with far-reaching consequences. No-fault divorce allows anyone to file for divorce without giving a reason. This shift in power, historically held by men as primary wage earners, now favors women. Some women exploit this to quickly gain wealth and move on, a trend that understandably deters men from marriage and committed relationships. Given these circumstances, it's no wonder many men are steering clear of marriage. Marriage offers men little benefit but substantial risk. A man can now have a more honest and stable relationship with someone who charges by the hour, rather than a wife who charges by the lifetime. Incentivizing divorce through no-fault laws is fundamentally flawed. No one should be encouraged to break a contract. The government's recognition of these issues reflects their severity. However, the blame should not fall on men or the government, but on women who manipulate the system for financial gain. These women marry for convenience, then divorce when love fades, causing significant damage to families and society. Government intervention in the family unit has eroded its foundation. Until we reclaim control from the government, these problems will persist and worsen. It will take generations to rectify this mess. Modern marriage is often seen as disposable, with women entering it thinking they can leave if they're not happy after a few years. This mindset, coupled with the back door provided by no-fault divorce, undermines the essence of love and commitment. No man wants to risk everything based on the whims of an irrational spouse, putting our social fabric at risk. Research indicates that more women initiate divorce than men, with up to 70% of no-fault divorces being initiated by women in the United States and 62% in the UK. This trend is attributed to women's increasing independence, often linked to feminist ideals. Women's expectations in marriage sometimes don't align with reality, particularly regarding how their emotional needs are met. This mismatch can lead to dissatisfaction post-marriage. Another surprising statistic is that in the majority of divorce cases, women receive primary custody of children. This, coupled with evidence showing a more significant drop in men's well-being immediately after divorce, suggests that men may perceive more to lose in divorce proceedings. This disparity in outcomes post-divorce is one reason why more men are opting out of marriage. Research also indicates that men tend to feel lonelier after divorce, while women are more likely to find a new partner and settle down again. Societal changes have transformed the dynamics of relationships. Women now have higher earnings and, in some cases, out-earn their husbands. However, being the breadwinner can lead to dissatisfaction in marriages where women earn more than their husbands, impacting relationship dynamics. For men considering marriage, it's suggested that marrying a woman who earns more and without children may be financially safer. However, societal standards often favor men who fit the Chad or Tyrone archetype, and men may need to lower their standards if they don't meet these criteria, as women often prioritize such men in the dating pool. The issue men face today stems from the modern belief in gender equality, which has shifted traditional roles. Historically, men were providers and protectors, with failure in these roles leading to social ostracism or divorce due to alcoholism or abuse. However, with the rise of feminist no-fault divorce, the landscape has changed. Men raised in the era of feminism are expected to provide child support, alimony, and fight for custody, despite being taught that men and women are equal. This contradiction creates confusion and frustration. Why would a man marry knowing there's a high chance of divorce, potentially losing everything he's worked for? Men are avoiding marriage because they perceive the legal system as biased against them, leading to a more peaceful life without the complexities of marriage. The sense of empowerment and responsibility that came with providing for a family is fading for men, which used to be a significant motivation for marriage. Today, women often seek constant validation, which may indicate a lack of self-contentment and emotional control. Men should avoid placing their partners on pedestals, as this can lead to taking each other for granted. It's crucial to respect boundaries and oneself in relationships. Women in their prime should consider their choices carefully, focusing on building a family rather than chasing fleeting pleasures. It's a fact that despite the advancements and changes in society, the fundamental laws of human nature remain unaltered. Certain aspects of life are predetermined, and no matter how hard men and women try, they can't change these inherent truths about their roles and ways of life. When you encounter online tirades about older men preferring younger women or expressing a desire to be single, it might seem irrational. However, these sentiments stem from a basic desire for love, admiration, and respect that men seek. Conversely, women often expect the best from men without necessarily reciprocating these expectations, despite the rhetoric of equality. The legal system is often skewed in favor of women, using men's resources to support them financially, sometimes for life. This disparity has led to instances where women marry wealthy men with the intent to divorce them and live off the alimony without having to work. The rise of the men going their own way movement has allowed men to share their experiences and enlighten each other about the realities of relationships with women. This movement has shed light on instances where women have deceived men into marriage only to take advantage of their resources later on. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.